Afternoon everyone. Thought I'd pop on just to give you a quick hello, little update on what's been going on. We are in a very hot time at the moment in sunny Spain. Today we're on about 37 degrees. It's absolutely roasting. So I'm gonna have to keep this video to a minimum because I'm gonna burn me bald head. Last week, so we was sort of towards the end of May, we hit 40 degrees, which was crazy for this time of year. But it was nice. I mean, we're now able to use the pool. It was a little cold before. The beginning of May was a little cold. So we're now able to use the pool. Beautiful thing is, Carter's never really been a big fan of the swimming pool. Last year, I don't think he went in it once. He may have been in it once when his friend come over, but wouldn't go off the steps. A couple of days ago, I was in there. He just come out in his shorts, not his swimming shorts, but his shorts, and just decided to step a couple of steps in, which was quite big for him. I mean, that was quite a step for him. Didn't encourage him to at all. And he said, "Can you go and get my armbands? I'm going to come in." So we did. He come in, and within 20 minutes, he's swimming around like a little fish, a salmon. And yeah, the last 2 or 3 days, he's been going in there. So you know, hopefully we'll get him swimming without his armbands this year, which will be nice because we have to be a bit careful. Obviously, with the doors, we've got quite a few exits to the villa, so we have to be a little bit careful. A lot of the time we keep the shutters down on the back doors because obviously we then know that there's one main door. We've got a little hook which is about sort of 6.5 foot up in the air. We lock the doors religiously and hang the keys up so that, you know, if we're upstairs and he's downstairs watching the telly, he doesn't go out looking for us and then trips and falls in the pool, because that could be a problem. And obviously that's something that happens worldwide. I think there was a situation in Gran Canaria recently where a young child lost his life. Parents didn't see him, he was around the pool. And I can't think of anything worse than coming out and finding your child. It doesn't even bear thinking about. Anyway, moving along. I'm trying to get him into some sport at the moment. I'd like him to start boxing. I think he can start now, but it might be when he's 6 years old. He's only 5 at the moment. So it might be when he's 6 years old, but I'd like to get him into boxing. Sophie's not so keen on that idea because obviously he's a bit, doesn't want his facial features sort of, and she also, I don't think, wants him to fall in love with the sport. It's okay as a sport. I don't particularly recommend it as a profession for anyone. It's a very hard business. There's an awful lot of, you know, underhand stuff that goes on, and you really have got to be at the top of your game all the time. If you aren't, you're only as good as your last day in the office, aren't you? You know, it's not a business that I would recommend anyone following. We went to a lovely rock festival last night in Mazaron. It was called Mazaron Rocks. Had Artful Dodger there, and who was the other one? Judge Jules. And obviously loads of other singers and bands as well, which were all fantastic. But the Artful Dodger and Judge Jules were both really good. We was lucky enough to meet them. Sophie had some photos done. I think she posted them on her Facebook, or I posted them on my Facebook earlier. And yeah, we had a really amazing time. We left there at about 11 o'clock at night. I think the thing went on till about 4 o'clock in the morning. But we left there at 11 o'clock at night because obviously Carter had school this morning. And he's normally in bed by about 8:30. So for the time we drove home was about an hour on top. So it was about midnight we got in, and then this morning Sophie had to get up and go to the restaurant early, so I had to wake Carter up to get him to school at 9 o'clock. 10 to 9, I still couldn't get him out of bed, so he was late into school this morning. We got there about 20 to 10, I suppose, 9:30, 20 to 10. But he's never late, he never has a day off, so, you know, it was a one-off, and he really enjoyed that as well. Met an awful lot of people yesterday that said they watched this channel, which was insane. I had about 6 people come up to me, you know, and say they watched this channel, and they obviously used to watch me on Paul's channel as well. Touching on that subject, there's a couple of YouTube channels that just can't seem to let go this whole thing about Paul moving to Spain and me living in Spain. I mean, I've lived in Spain 4.5 years, so, you know, and owned the place here for 7 years, I think 6 years. So they can't seem to understand. They seem to think that there's this huge conspiracy as to why Paul moved here, and I obviously already lived here, and why I've decided to pull away from talking about politics. And those of you that follow Paul's channel and those of you that know about me will obviously know that there was a situation when I went back to the UK that's made me decide to not discuss these types of things anymore. I've never been paid for it. I don't want to put my neck on the line as other people have. I won't mention no names, but there's a one particular person that's had his life changed about his beliefs and stuff. And, you know, I completely support the man, but like I say, I don't really want to be in the position that he's been in. I've got businesses and, you know, I've got a young child and I have to put my family first. And the decision's been made. Who knows in the future? I mean, I think it was spoke about yesterday on Paul and Richard's live, Paul Thorpe and Richard Inman's live, that they think that possibly at some stage I'll go back to it, but we'll have to leave that at that. But there's a couple of YouTube channels that can't seem to let it go. They seem to be sort of playing with Paul's name, because obviously Paul's got a massive following, and they're still trying to sort of find a reason why Paul pulled away and why I pulled away and why Paul's moved to Spain and bits and bobs like that. Just don't believe the hype. The one particular channel, I'm not going to mention the name because this is giving people oxygen to continue doing what they're doing. But one particular channel's made about 30 videos in the last month. I mean, is there nothing? And everything that's being said is factually incorrect. So, you know, if you've got your facts right, then maybe you can have a proper discussion about things. But when everything that's being said is just blabble, because that's what it is, you know, take it, anything you hear outside of Paul's channel, my channel, Richard's channel, with a pinch of salt. Obviously, Richard's channel's still fairly political. He's, you know, counter media. And, you know, if you like watching that type of stuff, I urge you to go and subscribe to, you know, Richard and Paul, if you haven't already. I mean, most of my followers that will watch these videos will have probably come over from Paul or Richard's channel anyway. But yeah, so I just thought I'd just touch on that any of these third party, there's a couple of them, you know, there's a few YouTubers that have been very polite and very kind and very accurate about what's happened. Obviously the main man's now out of custody, and he's got his own YouTube channel back, as I understand. I've not been watching any of it yet. I probably will, because I still have a vast interest in it all, but obviously won't be discussing it in the future. So yeah, that was it really today. I just wanted to sort of jump on, say thank you to Richard and Becca for inviting us to that festival yesterday. Like I say, the amount of people come up and said, we watch your channel all the time. It's crazy. I can't believe the amount of people. Obviously, it's not only subscribers that watch it, people that, you know, just watch the videos without subscribing. I think it's amazing, you know. I can't thank people enough. The subscriptions have slowed down somewhat. I'm really enjoying doing these videos and bits and bobs. I'm going to do a video this week. I've not got anything recorded at all at the moment. Obviously Sophie went live yesterday, and then I done a little live, and then I done another live and deleted it, because obviously I couldn't show much of the festival with Judge Jules and obviously Artful Dodger, because we would get a YouTube strike, because obviously the music's on. So it was difficult for me to really go live and stuff. I did go live while one of them was playing. I think it was the Artful Dodger was playing. And then I immediately deleted it afterwards. That's why it's always probably a good idea to sort of make sure your bell notifications in the top right hand side of things are pushed, and then you get notified when we go live, because sometimes I delete it afterwards for whatever reason. I don't want to upset YouTube. Obviously I've got to try and keep the channel safe and clean, and, you know, not sort of dive into any of the stuff that they don't want me to do. I've got to take the Mercedes tomorrow to have its ITV. Now, an ITV is the same as an MOT in the UK. ITVs here are from 4 years onwards in the UK, and MOT is from 3 years. So it's an extra year here. And then for the next 6 years, so from 4 to 10 years old, the car, you have a ITV every other year. So it's every 2 years. And then when it gets to 10 years old, the car, 10 years and older, it's every year. Vans are every 6 months after 4 years, I believe, or it might be 3 years. I'll have to check that one out. So I've just got to obviously hope it goes through. It hasn't really done an awful lot of mileage since the last time I had an ITV a year ago. Probably 700 miles, if that, maybe not even that. I've used it a little bit in the last week or so, because obviously I had a problem with the battery seizing up, so I'm thinking maybe I'll use it weekly, but only sort of do 10 or 15 kilometres a week in there. But yeah, so that's coming up. Got a final meeting tomorrow about my arm, whether they're going to operate or whether they're going to carry on with the physio. At the moment, everything's stopped. I wouldn't mind trying to get back down to boxing club. Obviously, me and Paul are going to do a little spar up for charity, or I don't know, whatever it be. Maybe not even for charity, just for the channel. We're going to have a little spar up. I don't know when that's going to be. Obviously, you know, he hasn't trained properly for a while, and I haven't trained since December, so we're probably on an even kill. I've put on about 1 stone in weight, which isn't nice, but you know, I can't do anything about it if I can't really, you know, throw punches. So as I say, I love boxing for my mental health, physical health. Obviously it helps keep my weight down, gives me a little bit of a focus. You know, you come back from boxing and you don't want to eat crisps, or you don't want to have a beer or something. You know, you've gone and slogged your guts out for an hour and a half. You don't want to come back and start piling loads of calories on. So it sort of mentally helps you maintain your fitness, maintain your weight and bits and bobs like that. So anyway, I'm going to do another video. The video is going to be a little bit about, you know, keeping up with your neighbours and material things and how unnecessary it all is. I went recently to Malaga. I'll put all this in the next video. It'll be done in the next 2 or 3 days. Obviously you've got the lives that we done yesterday. If you haven't seen them, pop over and have a little look. One's with Sophie that done one, and then I've done a little sort of walk around the festival without it being too controversial with music, copyright and stuff like that. But thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a great week, a very safe week, and I look forward to sorting that video out for the viewers this week. And yeah, if you don't mind liking, sharing, commenting, anything you can do to try and help this build the channel up. I'd like to get it to 10,000 subscribers. We're on about 725 I think at the moment, so you know, we've got, you know, a little way to go. It has slowed right down, but that's how it is. You know, I'm enjoying doing it, and I hope you're enjoying watching it. I'll speak to you all in a week, guys, and I'll see you all soon.